Can I tell you, babe? Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Forgive me. One of my kids is sick. It's sad. Please pray for her. 102-degree fever. She's been sick for 2 days. It's been tough. Oh my gosh. I just had a spill in the studio. What do? No. I got to stop. A spill in the studio over here. My hands are a mess. Hold on one second. We have a bit of a problem. Luckily, I have something here. It shouldn't be too bad. These have like an apple cider vinegar component. I guess it like always... tend to get a little crazy in here. That's going to be a mess. Anyway, we'll leave that to another time. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. This is real time, so apologize for this. Taking these healthy, salty shots. Just turmeric, ginger, a couple things to keep you going in the morning. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. No, it's not. It's a Saturday morning, and I'm out of my mind. But it's a beautiful Saturday morning, and let's break down Bitcoin, the rest of the altcoin market, what's happening. We had this huge pump on the 4-hour time frame. Are we going to pull back? What's happening? Is there still opportunity out here? Is this the bottom for virtuals? Well, what happens first is you make a statement from the bottom, you pump, but then you're going to get some type of pullback. You're going to get some sideways price action. That's what we're looking for. If you looked at my update, my macro update that I put out every single Friday afternoon, check that video out. It's going to really square things away for you and show you what's happening. If you're making it, give back. Shout out to Crypto King. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. You've given so much, man. You don't ever have to give. I can't believe how much you've been given to me. So much should be given to you. You've been super awesome. Looked at Trump last night. It did pump 18%. Still holding gains of about 6.98. May give it back. Let's take a look at BTC and see how it's likely going to fare throughout the day. So, it is a rising wedge. I said that level has to hold. Can we get the bounce? Looks like it may be kind of falling here. And now, we lost the trend line. So for Bitcoin to be bullish, you wanted to see this bounce. That could be bearish city here. Shoulder head, almost a bearish retest here, and a drop further to the downside. A little bit of bearish divergence there too as well, foreshadowing a possible move further down. There's a big gap here. The level you'd be looking at is 88,000. Not trying to scare anyone. I just want to kind of put it out there. We had a big pump. So let's take a look at what's happening on the weekly and break it down. So the weekly broke out nicely. It was a huge candle. I want to see this close tomorrow night as such. If this closes with a huge wick down, it'll be a little sketchy. I'd like to see this close above that weekly resistance, which could now be support. We're kind of right on it, though, as you can see. Let's actually bring it. We're right there. And I'm going to hang on that candle to find out what it is. When that candle opened, it was 93,738. So that's the key level that we're looking at. 93,738 for BTC. And we're kind of like right there. All right. We're right on it. Right now, Bitcoin is 94,014 even. 94.14, you can see that. So let's take a look at the 5-day chart. And the 5-day showing signs of a possible resistance there. And you can see right there, we do have a resistance on the 5-day at 94.8. The 800s. And then, the double bottom was basically played out. And we have a little resistance there with a pretty big wick on the 3-day chart. So there's resistance at 95,000, 95.5. The daily's very overbought now. The stochastics have gone from the low all the way to the high, and we've done great. We bumped from 76,000 all the way to 94. The suggestion is there would be some, either this move down, or it's going to be like, an uptrending. It could even be an uptrending flag, which is the most unlikely, but a possibility, right? Either way, that looks like what's going to happen. And Bitcoin could come retest one of these two levels. This level here at 90,300, or this level here at about 87,006. Those are the two key places you're going to be watching price action. You can also pull a fib here And you can see there's going to be a golden pocket, 786 wick, possibly to 86, 88K. So you could see a wick to 86.5. I mean, that would be that devastation, like, oh my gosh, you know. And just, you know, you always want to see what is the worst, best case scenario would be that wick down to 88.5 right here. Or 86.5, sorry. It would scare the heebie-jeebies out of everybody. We'd wick back inside, hold the key level, and then we'd be gone, right? But again, it would be nicer if we just kind of go sideways. So I'm going to be watching this closely, but I don't see a huge pump coming out of nowhere. We would like to see this kind of 5 or 6 days of sideways pressure or 5 or 6 days of a downward move. I just don't want to see Bitcoin lose 90,000, 90,300. If that can be done and we can get the 21 to touch price action before the 200, bang, this could also create altcoin movement. And this could have Bitcoin dominance could let go a little bit while Bitcoin kind of goes sideways for the next week. When a huge pump like this, if Bitcoin goes sideways, the alts will go crazy. It'll let people kind of realize, because if Bitcoin just starts going down, people don't want to trade alts. They're going to freak out. But if Bitcoin just starts going sideways, 3 days from now, there's going to be a day where people just feel like, hey, I can take a shot. And that's when a lot of liquidity enters the market at once and the altcoins surge. I've seen it many times due to the sideways Bitcoin price action, and that's what we're looking for here for BTC. $106,081.63. All right, would be the bigger target out of the falling wedge flag there. So regardless of what happens, and remember, irregardless is not a word, even though people might have said it. But regardless of what happens, it's regardless. But regardless of what happens, you know, I do see a pretty good play for Bitcoin either here or here. And then by, you know, somewhere by May 1st, by the beginning of the month there, it looks like we might begin May with a punch to the upside. Might start that monthly with a beautiful, beautiful open for May. You know, April is historically bullish, and so far so good on the monthly. I mean, that was a beautiful April candle. And we're getting very close to the end of the month, too, with the monthly close. So, hey, it's good times. It's exciting times. And it's pretty awesome. And I mean, that's a bullish engulfing candle if I've ever seen one. So let's close off the week like tomorrow night. Let's close off the month off. And let's see where we stand. But right now, and so your best case scenario is somehow Bitcoin flags out. But it flags out like in an uptrend. Like, it makes kind of like an uptrending. We haven't seen one of these in a while, and you usually do get these when we're in a pretty spot-on position. This is exactly the similar flag that I drew here once I saw these two. Remember, I did the same thing when these two were here, everyone. But I said, you know, it's more likely we go sideways because the 21-day moving average is with you. See, the 21 can tell you what type of pattern you're going to make. If the 21 was down here, it's going to be more likely we made a falling wedge because you have to come back to it. It's just how it is. Does that make sense? That would make no sense to me if I was a beginner, but if you're starting to learn and you've been watching me for a while, that might have cemented something or just kind of, but that was just such a move. I mean, what a beautiful flag. And it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days after the initial two candles, right? Initial, you know, this one kind of, you have 2 candles. Might take 5 or 6 more days here to find out really where Bitcoin's going to go. There seems to be some support, I'll be honest. If you know, really above like 93 here. You can even see right there, there's like that level, but for the daily, your next real area is 92.8. So what do I see happening today for Bitcoin? Well, it looks pretty much like a red or sideways day, you know. I wouldn't be surprised this candle just kind of moseys on around, and you know, right now it's down $500. I wouldn't be surprised if it just ends up closing red down, you know, down 400, 300, 500, like the same kind of where it's at. Like maybe it goes down a little lower, a little higher. Does it dump? There's a chance. Let's break it down and see what happens. So now I just gotta get rid of all this because I know what I know in my mind. And then the smaller time frames are gonna start to teach me what's happening. But you gotta keep this all kind of in your head. And you know, 95.6 there is going to be your daily resistance, which we tapped perfectly on a wick. 12 and the 22 overbought away from the, you know, but again, above that daily, the 200 MA. That's very bullish. We can do whatever we want. We can range anywhere between 91. Like, this whole area is up for grabs for me. As long as we don't go below this 200 MA, I'm bullish for a big move. We end up losing that, then that's something that's no good. That means something isn't going right. If you see us below the 200 MA in the next week or two, Bitcoin, for whatever reason, there's Black Swan and Bitcoin's collapsing. All right. I try to be everywhere at once all the time to mess with people. You know what I mean? Like, what? How is he doing that? How could he do that? How could he look at the charts and put an emoji and master friend at the same time in the Discord? I don't know. I have sick abilities. I'm a sick man. So, look, I mean, could we still hold this beautiful little trend line and get busy today? Is it still a chance for Bitcoin to rip? Is that the old, what I call uptrending cup and handle in play for BTC? Could it be? Interesting. Even actually, there's the impulse there. I mean, it's very close to an MP. Really, 618 golden pocket bounce though for Bitcoin. Can Bitcoin save the day and get a similar day to yesterday? Look at that, multiple green candles throughout the day and begin to rally. Change that candle on the daily to a green one, at least some type of green hammer. Do we bounce off this golden paquito here for Bitcoin? Is that what we do? So can we see where price will go? The price action will tell us, So very oversold here on the 4-hour time frame. Very oversold on the 1-hour time frame. I could see us dumping, but we've been dumping now. You can see since we kind of topped out there at 95.6. What a beautiful number, huh? Not too bad, huh? 95,600. You want the top of your rallies to be nice and high, so then they come back on their higher lows. They're far more substantial of a number, you can't ask for more here. So this looks like we could get a bounce. I know I started looking at the 15-minute a little differently. Now, bearish to me is the 15-minute losing the 200 MA. Bit of an M pattern there too. See, that looks M-y. That looks like it's going to dump to begin the day. Could turn into one of these wicks that we flip, I'm almost done. Don't worry. I'm going to come to a conclusion here. And do we, say that, it's really already lost the trend line. Interesting enough. I mean, see shoulder, head, and right shoulder, and the head had an M pattern in it. That dump, you know what I mean? Multiple little trades in there. It looks like there was a head and shoulder there too on the smaller time frame. So you can see Bitcoin somewhat beginning to collapse here slightly on the smaller time frames. Let's take a look at that 1 minute. Did it lose the 200 MA on the 1 minute time frame? I just start doing my due diligence. And you can see it lost it here and it's been toying with it. You see resistance. Yeah, and that's, if it was the other way around, we'd have a bullish day, right? You'd be like, oh, we've been above the daily. And that's what an uptrend and a downtrend is, okay? So, here's the deal. What color are my pants? Somebody said. They are Damas cheese. Yeah. That's what color they are. Let's take a look at the 5-minute time frame. That also doesn't look amazing with a bearish engulfing candle in the last, almost 5 minutes, right? That candle closes when here? Interesting. Let's go here to labels. Countdown to bar closes there. I just, for some reason, I'm not able to see it. Awkward. Maybe they're doing maintenance on that or something. Just for a split second, I can't see my countdown to bar close. Maybe I'm not. Oh, there it is. Yeah. 4 minutes and 38 seconds. A new candle. So what? We just closed a bearish engulfer. Yeah, that looks bearish. I gotta say, like, I'm hopeful on that cup and handle, but I don't know. It looks pretty bearish to me. You're gonna get some support at this point of control. There's a bunch of chop right here. You're going to have to get back up throughout the day. You're very oversold in the 1 hour and the 4, suggesting we could get a bounce. But once you lose this POC, we'd have to concede that we're going to go down to, you know, at least the base of the rising wedge. Some key support waiting for us all the way to 90,005, 90,008, right? So when you look at this key area here, right, it's just, you see number two, you see a local resistance that we're having trouble with at this high volume node, 90,008, 90,000, 94.7. So I don't know, you know. Number one, Saturdays aren't my day, but you know, it was looking like we may get like kind of a crazy Saturday. It was almost like they were faking it out, I guess. I guess it could be a bull run Saturday. It could just be inducing shorts, but I mean, that doesn't look amazing. You got to go with the flow here. Losing the 200 MA on the 5 is bearish. Losing the 200 MA on the 15. So we'd like to see this. Yeah, so here's the deal. 1 or 2 more candles closes below this 200 MA on the 15. I could see follow through all the way down. But if you can get back above it, looks like we could even make some type of inverted head and shoulder here. I got, you know, because we're so oversold on that 1 hour and that 4, I just don't see how we could dump too hard today. You know, I'm really leaning on the fact that, so I'm gonna put in the idea that for me, the charts are telling me we're likely going to get a move further to the upside. All right. That's what I'm looking for. So Sammy is making a call. The lifer's making a call that I want to see, you know, again, in a half an hour to 2 hours, 2 more candles close below the 200 MA though, and then, you know, I have to be bearish. But, you know, because I'm so beat up on that 4 hour and that 1 hour, so oversold, you know, you'd have to, you know, the probabilities are that we're going to get some type of bounce here. And it does have cup and handle vibes. We have a lot of resistance, which means there's a lot of support right here too. I'm expecting a bounce somewhere here, even off that 93,006 area. And I'm expecting a move back up to the top of the channel, possibly through this gap to liquidity, at least to 94.6, maybe even further to the upside. Let's take a look at what's happening here for BOOKMAP and break it down. Right. BOOKMAP is showing, you know, that there's a bunch of liquidity above us. So BOOKMAP sees what I see, which is interesting, all the way back to about 96,000. So if you had to make a call, BOOKMAP says, hey, I'd like to liquidate the people above us here. There's a bunch of shorts. So, and a little more red just for them to kind of build up would make sense. So I could be wrong here, but Sam the lifer is calling a bounce for Bitcoin, likely bounce, you know, back to the top of this channel to possibly $95,500 to $96,000. BOOKMAP also kind of coincides with my story. So that's the story morning glory. I'll be putting out updates throughout the day inside of the Discord. We're going to be looking at all different altcoins. If you see something, say something. We have so many people scanning and doing our best to give you guys the best gems in the game. So I love you. I appreciate you. Let me just take a look here at the super chats and see what's happening in the fan funding section. Thoughts on XEN currently? What trade website do you use to trade? We are using whatever website you choose to use, which is up to you. I like to use Weeks, Maxi, and or Bit2Next. Bit2Next and Weeks are awesome too and easy to use. And basically any country ready to rock for you. Thank you as always. Bless your family. God bless you. Thank you. Lifer, any thoughts on Pulse Chain ecosystem? And all the links are here, right here in the pinned comment if you want to just jump on in and make it very accessible. That'll be your spot trade, swing trade. If you're going to leverage trade though, please use demo accounts. Don't do it with real money for a long. You got to really get comfortable with it. For me, I traded for like over 10 years before I even really thought. I didn't even really know, before I even touched leverage trading. So again, just so you know what's happening, it's very crucial we see this 15-minute get back above the 200 MA, the yellow line. You can just keep your trade, like this naked chart with just the 200. That's got to happen sooner than later. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. This starts to flag out and dump. This could end up being a bearish day. So I'm going by the odds and the probability of the stochastics, but you never know. But Sammy is looking for a pump here. Also because there's support and resistance. It's not just that, there's a lot of resistance. You can see it. Looking for that bounce off support for Bitcoin. So I did make a call. You can throw tomatoes at me tonight if we dump. Or you can be like, wow, amazing, when we're up here somewhere, and we'll see what happens. So shout out to Jay Bella. Official Sam Price call on a beautiful Saturday morning. No content, no tricks, just 2 videos in the SafeBow wallet. You're so weird, man. God bless everybody here. Let's take a look at XCN, USDN. XC. Wow, looked beautiful too, but I guess you could say it was a symmetrical triangle. And they do jump, eventually did dump on out to the downside. I have this just as a swing trade, but dang, looked nice. It looked tight. Looked like we were going to get a move out of that to the upside, but still not complete alt season yet. It's crazy. They're still farming stop losses, so be careful. No love for the XCN. It looked like 100 trades that have played out, but again, it doesn't mean it will. Stinks for me. I'd like to see that thing rip, right? Bigger picture, maybe, we're doing something more like this. Just consolidating. Not too long from now, we'll still make a bucket, I hold this, so this is in my portfolio now. We'll see what happens. XCN. I got in early enough to see where it can go. See if it can consolidate here. And that would be the monster move, right? Take that puppy to 6 cents and almost 7 cents. Almost 3 6/10 of a cent. So almost 4 cents, right? And from here, it's at what? A 0. Yeah. So that would take it from about 2 cents to 3.5 cents. XCN. What trading? Oh yeah, thank you. I use them for your salad and not Sammy. God bless you. Let's look at TAI, the hot call. Absolutely beautiful. So initially got in here, it ripped for 37 and then continued to go up. Wow, 69, even further. It was up even 96% at one point. Absolutely ripping. The call given right here, and it just continues to go. Awesome. Love seeing that. 72% gains for the TARS AI crowd. Shout out to anyone in TARS AI continuing to do damage. Then put that little alert there, another little flag. It ripped out this flag to the upside and did absolute damage. Again, you don't know what it is when I just slap it up there, but pretty much hit the target though, which is pretty crazy. That comes from this measured move with the proper adjustment, and there you are. Wow, TARS AI in a couple days making 99% gains. I mean, imagine that. And that's how the trading group works. I mean, and that was a coin that there was a lot of stuff out there, but you could we were honed in on it together, and the weekly screen share. at the weekly screen share, that was the actual like nightly trade that looked to me like it had, you know, the tightness, the beautifulness, the moving averages. Looked at the 15-minute, it just, look how tight those moving averages were at the high volume node. And, you know, stochastics, everything was ready to go. It looked absolutely beautiful. And it's following suit so far. Can almost like somewhat bull flag it here, but the markets seem like they're going to take a little pullback. Could be wrong. They'll watch this thing closely. If anything could continue to moon, you know. But 99% in a couple days, you don't want to be too greedy. And you want to see how far your daily is away from the 21. It's just very far away, right? So it could moon all the way to the 200 though. I've seen that happen. Then there'll be some mean pullback. Same story here though, like you broke above the 200. That's actually not too bad there. That looks pretty good. On the 1 hour time frame. I wouldn't be surprised if it may continue that way and just moon. People wanted this coin cheap and then it started to rip again and now they're like, dang, you know. Because you have to think back to the all-time high would be like 44 cents. And now it's like, you know, let's see, right? It was what, 3 cents? Hold on. Now it's sitting at 9 cents, right? And it tapped 10 cents last night. So now it can only 4x. But had you gotten it just like 2 days ago at 5 cents, you see what I'm saying? Now you can almost 10x. And had you gotten it maybe at the very bottom near 2 cents, I mean, now you can possibly 80x, right? Because at 4 cents. Oh, at 4 cents, you could 10x. So you could 20x your money at 2 cents. Right? If it goes back to its all-time high at what, like 44 cents. So you can see a couple days is the difference between making a 10x and making a 4x. And that's what I learned, the brutal truth of being in altcoins early, you know, and that's why I always showed up in bear markets and scraped the bottom the best I could. You know, I do buy the bottoms at certain times. Then there's time once the market starts to rip, we want to kind of start to position ourselves, for me, slightly differently. Again, not a financial advisor or something. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice, but I like to start kind of, I'm not going to start buying the lows of the lows unless I see something new that looks interesting, right? You can't complain about a 5x, but when you've made big money in this market that's been really life-changing, you want to see if you can do that again, you know? But TARS AI looks interesting to me, and it definitely looks like a possible nice long-term hold that could do some serious damage. And what a beautiful move. Shout out to anyone that jumped into TARS AI with the lifers. And I do like to relish in the wins. Still holding gains of 67%, but hit it topping out about 91, probably lower. Yeah, I'd say about 100% gains there. Pretty sweet. And it was a heavy focus too, because it had all the checks and balances that I go for when I teach. All right. And let's take a look at JASMY, and then I got to jump on out of here. One of my kids is sick, and my friend is here helping us too, so I just got to pitch in to be with my kids. Got to be a dad for a little bit, you know what I mean? So I like how we resistance and we use that as a bounce, and I'm just looking for JASMY to use this bounce to go back to up to the take profit 2. Take profit 1 has been achieved and some, and stop loss can be brought to break even or whatever someone wants to do here now. Winning trade, right? I see it continuing, and I'm a long-term holder of JASMY, so this is a positive effect. So I like what I'm seeing. Virtuals looks like it may have bottomed too. I would not be surprised if Virtuals makes it back to 454. Hey, but you do you. But it looks like that whole ecosystem could definitely come back strong, in my humble opinion. Could be a benefit for someone that had been in it before, because nobody really knows. The new people don't know what we know when they come into the market. People have to tell them, oh, you know, look at that rippage for Bitcoin back to the upside. And the 15-minute looking strong, right? Back above the 200 MA like we needed. So you do whatever makes you happy, but we are getting that bounce for Bitcoin. Just as the Sammy the Soothsayer may have called it there, back to the upside. One last thing I'll leave you with is Ethereum. And you're like, what? He said Ethereum? That guy? And you know, I'm watching this play right here for Ethereum. It's my model, right? It's on the 21 above the 200. You know, Bitcoin just did it on the daily. The whole market's starting to shift. I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum takes a nice, huge move here to the upside. All right. So, and this is simple. You know, you keep the stop below that wick and the 200 MA. It's very rare that the point of the, you know, where I see there's going to be a preemptive golden cross, you know, price action rarely hits it. But again, it doesn't mean that's going to happen. But, you know, so we see tightness for, you know, maybe 1 or 2 more days and boom. And I'm looking for the target of 2,050 for Ethereum. So I'm looking for a move here for ETH. Don't fail me now, Ethereum. And I never bring up Ethereum. I'd never put out a trade for ETH. But we even have a trade in the trading group right here with the entry right now. Stop down here. I mean, it's a beautiful 3.11 risk reward ratio. You can see that if you know, if you even go higher, but right about there, you got your 2.87 come up. Yeah, you got your right there. 3-to-1 risk reward ratio with a stop below 1708. So again, could easily get stopped out. You never know. But hey, for me, scared money don't make no money. So I like this trade for Ethereum. And yeah, we'll come back to this and watch it as it goes. And that's kind of my last little bit of alpha for you today. And I never do that. So you have to remember, when I don't do something and I do it out of nowhere, it's the probability, man. I'm the probability guy, you know. And watch for those shorts to get liquidated above us. That's what BOOKMAP is telling us. Again, it's been right many, many times. Doesn't mean it's right every time. I love you all. God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful day. I'll be around in the group. And thank you so much for your time. May God bless everyone that left a super chat. Let me just say thank you again to all the beautiful fan funding. Thank you to Sweet Biddy McGee. Thank you for everything. TAA. We'll look at that. Good morning. JASMY. Thoughts on cake. Thanks for all you do. Oh, we got to look at cake. Thank you. And then DJ Mines and Young Money. And we did look at XEN and we answered the other one. Let's take a look at cake and TIA. And then I'm jumping on out of here for the day if I may. But let's take a look at cake and TIA. If it was up to me, I'd be here all morning with you all. You know that. One of my kids is pretty sick, man. 103-degree fever for like 3 days now. Super hot, like, just, you know, isn't eating as much, you know, just looks skinny, like, just like sad, you know. It's got me down. It's got me down. So I like to see cake break out. It did. Our entry was at about 198. It ripped up to 218. That's cash in the bank right there. It's at 209 still. I see the bullish retest for cake. Not stopping until we get to 259. Cake's still going. Yeah, stop loss can ride below the 200 man in the 1 hour and see how high we can go, baby. The whole Atom ecosystem getting a bounce too. TIA getting a move. Last time we looked at it, I could see it getting a move here. It kind of did a crazy dump, but then it did pump. Let's take a look. This coin moves funny, I'll tell you that. You know, I would flatten this top out, keep this trend line alive, and see if it can kind of hang like this, you see? And make a beautiful ascending triangle. You just want to see that the 4 hour can hang above that 200 MA and consolidate. If it does that, then I see a trade coming. You just gave me a beautiful idea here for a nice setup. See, I can see opportunity all the time, and I'll be there for you, feeding you that opportunity, and then you'll know your opportunity because together we're going to make it happen no matter what. So opportunity, man. There's no fear in the believers. I believe that I'm the opportunity. I believe that God is great. I believe this world is amazing and great things are going to happen to me. And every day I look forward for the opportunity of amazing things to happen, because that's what's going to happen when I look forward to that. I create the opportunity through my mind. I attract what I think about. I think about great things and opportunity. So therefore, my life is full of those things. Amen. You're in control all the time. Once you realize that, then and then you submit to God. Once you're in control all the time and then you submit to God, and you're like, how can I do both things? You can. It doesn't make sense at first, but when you get there, you'll be like, wow. And then stay in the present moment, and you've got it. And you've got it. All right. Let's take a look at BTC one last time before I jump on out of here. So again, we want to make sure that this 15-minute is holding that 200 MA and not going to lose it. Looks like it's playing with it yet again here. So no guarantees. Little bit of a bullish divvy in a way, though. As you can see, this is kind of rising up. You're getting an uptrend here on the RSI, while you have a downtrend on price action, which could propel us further up. Key level you're going to look for on the local. We got to get back above 94,383, 94.4 to get any bullishness going here. All right. If we end up losing or closing candles below 93.8, it almost says we're going to be going back down to 93,000. So we'll see. BOOKMAP and me both have a probability to the upside. So when I show up back tonight, you know, a good chance maybe we might be doing something like this, making a shoulder and breaking on out back to the upside here too. So I'll leave you with that. I'll keep you guys updated throughout the day on the Discord, and may God bless each and every one of you. If you want to jump on in, go to cryptolifer.com to find out more, and we have links too as well pinned. All right, everyone, I love you. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll let you know if my daughter's okay. 103-degree fever for a couple days now. So man, my little baby, low energy, not feeling well, man. And she went, you know, so prayers for my daughter, man. God bless you all. I'll see you soon. Thank you for everything.